Hey everybody, it's Josh. I was wanted to do a video today. It's raining, but standing under my oak tree, so hopefully I'll stay a little dry. I don't mind getting wet. Hopefully I won't melt. But I wanted to follow up on some of the videos I've been doing lately. I think I've done some of my more important videos, and I just wanted to say first that I'm thankful for all of you who watch these videos. And really, you help me as much as I hope I help you. I just want to give you all some guidance, because I've learned that we all have to learn from our mistakes. But the easier path is to watch what others do, their mistakes, and learn from their mistakes instead. I think there was some sort of wise man who, maybe a monk or something, who said something like that. He's like, I just learned by watching all the fools make their mistakes. You know, I don't need to go out and do all that stuff myself. And in a way, that's wise, but you do have to make your own mistakes too. Because if you don't, it won't have the same impact on you. You're not going to get that same profound wisdom that you'll get from the sheer just agony or humiliation or whatever feeling you get from whatever failure in life or misstep. That stuff is so important to us. I wanted to first respond to, I had a girl talking about, leave a comment about how people don't understand, and people were telling her she's much too pretty to be depressed. And they, constantly are telling her, "Oh, you're a pretty girl, so why would you be depressed?" And that is exactly what I'm talking about when I say the people, they don't understand depression. The people who don't know it, as I was saying earlier, if you don't have that feeling of hopelessness, you don't have that just feeling of despair, you're not going to understand what someone who does go through that feels like. Now, I mean, there's plenty of things that all of us aren't going to go through. But there's general wisdom that should guide us all. Don't be upset when you feel like you don't fit in life, when you feel that hopelessness, when you feel that despair. Don't feel like some sort of freak saying, well, my life isn't so bad, I should be feeling great. That is, it's just spoken by people who are just speaking ignorance just to hear themselves talk. And so many people do that. So we live in a world full of people who are so narcissistic that they don't take the time to kind of learn what others go through. This is one of the reasons why I always am drawn back to Christianity. Christ's teachings, I should say. I guess it's still called Christianity, but I want to emphasize, I'm drawn to Christ's teachings, not to necessarily the churches, because I've yet to find a church that will teach me the wisdom and the essence of Jesus' teachings. Now, I'm not saying they're not out there, And I'm not saying that I looked hard enough, because I didn't. I probably gave up way too early in my search just because I didn't really have the motivation to. I was like, it's kind of like a story of, well, let's say you go to McDonald's and you order a Big Mac, and the Big Mac makes you sick. And then you're like, I'll never, ever eat there again because every McDonald's sucks. First of all, nowadays McDonald's does pretty much suck, and you shouldn't probably be eating fast food anyway. But you cannot judge things from one bad experience that you have. You have to give everything a chance. Everything that's worth giving a chance to. Now, it's not really worth giving other McDonald's a chance, because maybe that was a bad analogy, but you have one bad experience at one church, or you have parents who just are strict and cruel because they say they're Christians. That's not what Christianity is. That's not what Christ's teachings are. They're missing the essence of Christ's teachings. And really, the essence of Christ's teachings has been corrupted since the early days, the early Christian church. They even had a period of time where the Catholic Church banned reading the Bible altogether. And I think it was the 1200s. 1249, I believe it was. I'm horrible with dates, so don't quote me on that. But what kind of religion is scared to have their people actually read the scriptures? That just shows you right there, they want to control you. They want to have power over you. That's all they're worried about. Or else they would let you read those teachings. And the reason why they had to corrupt Christ's teachings is because Christ chose to be around the weak, the poor, the disabled, the meekest in the world. And I believe the reason he did that was because those are the ones who are most likely to transform completely when they are exposed to the true teachings of Christ and have a personal relationship with God. Because think about it. What is someone who's rich and famous, who's never had a bad day in his life? Well, we won't say that, but their bad day is nothing compared to a poor person's bad day. They're not going to have that same effect. They're not going to understand how life can just beat you down over and over and over and over, and it seems to never relent. And they don't get the essence of how powerful it is to have God say, I'm coming to help you. And God has done that over and over. In the Bible, you see how Moses, he was sent down the river, and then he became an Egyptian prince, and then he found out, or he was kicked out of Egypt for killing a man who was being cruel to one of the slaves, torturing one of the slaves. So you have Moses and you have Jesus, two of the biggest names in all of the Old and New Testament. And you have how they surrounded themselves and led the poorest and the weakest among them. Now, that right there will show you that the Bible and its stories are not meant to control you originally. Or else they just would have had God going to the Pharisees and the kings and royalty instead of the poor. Because God would have gone to the kings and said, "You are the one I want leading. You know it all. Yes, you were correct. Keep doing what you're doing, oppressing these people." When you get into power, when you get rich and famous, when you get to that status, you are corrupted. It's very, very hard to not be. It's very hard. And even if you're not, you're around people who are so corrupt that it will just rub off on you. And it's challenging too, because what if someone is amazing at spreading the word of God, yet they get rich and they get famous from doing it, and then they are corrupted? That's why Christianity and Jesus' teachings have to be a grassroots thing. It has to start from the bottom. And I'm not saying it's not for the wealthy. It absolutely is. It's for everyone. But the wealthy don't need it like the poor do. They do, but they won't understand that they need it. And to the girl who said that people say she's too pretty to be depressed all the time, they will never understand you until they go through it themselves. And you have nothing to be ashamed of. You don't. And I understand that feeling of hopelessness it is so powerful in its absence of power. Its absence of feeling. The absence of light, the pitch black darkness. And you just have to understand that that's the way your mind is going to go sometimes. But you don't have to keep it that way. Now, I struggle with this a little bit because I don't know. I'm pretty sure that some people need medication of some kind. I'm also pretty sure that God put every single thing that we need already out in the world for us to use. I have a close family member who treated her bipolar. She went through all kinds of pharmaceutical medications, and then she finally said, "I'm done with this hardcore medication. I'm going to try to use cannabis." And she uses cannabis every single day, and it's worked miracles for her. And there's such a stigma, and this is another thing that Christians will do. They'll put a stigma on things like cannabis and the magic mushrooms or certain psychedelics that they're starting to find have amazing medicinal uses. But since, the hippies did it, or the damn drug addicts did it, they won't ever admit that that's something that could benefit anyone. Because all they see is, Cheech and Chong when they see cannabis, or, whatever is in their mind. It's been non-stop fight against things like cannabis since the very beginning. But I'm not saying the cannabis is good or right for you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that is what the woman that I know tried, and it worked for her. And I mean, you look at her now and you look at her even 5-10 years ago, and it is a different person. And I am so proud of her. And I'm so proud of so many of you, because you have dealt with anyone who has dealt with depression, any sort of mental illness or mental health issue. It makes you feel like you're so outcast from society. Makes you feel, like I said yesterday, like an alien trying to play at being human. And you just go through this world and it's like, it looks just like everything looks phony. And until you can snap yourself out of it and just start focusing on the beauty in nature. I told you yesterday I had the little gray bird that landed in front of me. And today I was feeling better. I've still been worn down from whatever the sickness is or something. Whenever I get sickness, I get depressed for some reason. But it's not as bad now because since I've found God, because I can easily get myself out of it. And I know how hard it is before I found God to break that. But today I was walking, I took my girls to a baseball game today for their school, and a minor league baseball game. And they had fun there, and then I have to take my dogs for a walk every day. So I took my dogs out, and there's this hawk flying, and then I see about a dozen birds chasing that hawk. And every single type of bird, too. It was like cardinals and little sparrows, and I think I've even seen a robin in there. I mean, so many birds just being like, nope, you're not getting our nest. You're not getting... It was so funny, but I started thinking, not only was that exactly what I needed to see to cheer me up too, but I saw that animals can teach us so much, and God teaches us so much through nature. Just watching how some of these tiny little birds, they come together with their community and even other communities, and they chase away the predator. They say, you're not getting near my nest. You're not going to mess with the little birds around here. You're not going to mess with anything in our area. You can go find some other place. Another thing, and this is a really beautiful story. So I always pass this she's a border collie, and the people keep her outside all the time. It's kind of sad, but there's nothing we can do about it. That's life. They keep her outside, and one day I passed her, and I just saw like something hopping by her little pen that they have set up out there. And I was like, oh, what is going on? I thought it was a rabbit. And I was like, is a rabbit sitting there hopping around her, taunting her? Because she was just like, she was watching like, what is going on here? And then I look around, see around the pen, and it's a little cat that I know was a stray because I've seen her around. That cat was just frolicking back and forth right in front of this border collie, and the border collie just looked so happy. And every single day, almost, there's been a couple days every single day I go by there, I will see that cat curled up with that dog and just laying somewhere right near that dog, and just they become best friends. This stray little kitten, she'd grown up a lot over the past couple months, and this poor little border collie that's just stuck outside, and she gets to see her pet parents every now and then, I'm sure, but not very often, not often enough. But they both needed a friend. They both needed community, and they found each other, and now they're best friends. And just like those birds who needed protection, they found not only their own community, but the communities around them were there to protect. They band together. I've seen the little birds fighting off the hawk before, and I told the story on one of my other videos, but I have to tell it because it was amazing. So I watched these I think it was sparrows or some blue jays. It was a blue jay and I think a sparrow, and they were trying to fight off this hawk that was trying to get near their nest. And the hawk just wasn't happening. He was ducking them, and they would fly at him, and then he was like, no, I'm still going to get those eggs or whatever I'm going after over there. And finally, they were just coming after him, and he wasn't backing down. And I see this little dart just go right at him. And it was a hummingbird. And that hummingbird just bam right into his chest. And that hawk just took off, and he was out of there. He was done. And that little tiny hummingbird saved the day for all those birds, all that community of birds. And it was beautiful. You'll see things like this when you go out into nature, and you'll learn what we should be learning as people. But what are we doing? We're sitting here on our phones. We're sitting on our TVs, our computers. We're not learning this stuff. We're not learning to come together. We're not learning what God wants to teach us, and God's lessons are in nature. God teaches us everywhere. And if you can't get out into nature, he'll teach you wherever he needs to teach you. But nature is where his masterpiece is painted. We have to just, the days that we are feeling the lowest, this goes for the girl dealing with depression, all my friends dealing with depression, any of you dealing with any sort of mental illness, force yourself to go out. I guess unless it's like horrible weather, like 110 degrees or, pouring down rain. But whenever you can, whenever you're feeling like that, make yourself go out and just see the nature around you and just take it in, just soak it in. If nothing else, the little bit of exercise will help you feel better. If that doesn't help you, maybe seeing the birds and seeing the animals and just seeing everything God has to offer will help you feel better. And I know you won't want to do it. You don't want to do anything when you're feeling like that. You're like, what's the point? But the point is, you will find the point when you go out there. Or get yourself doing something that makes you feel better. I laid out the strategy for addiction and mental illness, and I said, you have to keep your mind occupied. And I get it when your brain is not producing the endorphins and the right chemicals to make yourself feel like a normal human being. It's tough. It really is. But so many of us deal with this, and maybe we should take a page from those birds flying around. I'm sure you've heard them throughout the whole video here. They're singing to me. They come together when one in the community needs them. When the predators come to town, they come together. And I know it's hard to find people who do that these days, but they're out there. You just have to go searching for them. And searching in nature, you're going to find others who are out meditating on the beauty of nature. And those are the people that are likely to be kind and compassionate, and they're not going to be the ones who are just, get the hell out of my way. I'm trying to get home from work, or I'm trying to get wherever they're going. We have to train ourselves to think with compassion and love. That is the essence of Christ's teachings. That is the essence of so many Buddha's teachings. That is the essence of so many of the great religions. Compassion and love and empathy. You get those things in your life, and you will draw the people in, and you will change people's lives around you, and you will change your own life. And it's always a work in progress. It always is. We always have to work at it. And I get it. When you're at your end of your rope, you feel like nothing. Because I always thought, well, if I'm ever feeling like I'm going to kill myself, I'm just going to go and do all the things that I want to do. So ignorant sometimes I was. Well, if I was going to go do all the things I wanted to do, I probably wouldn't get to the point where I wanted to kill myself. I know the feeling of that hopelessness, and it really kills your motivation. It makes it pointless to do things to better yourself. But you have to fight just enough to get your butt out and go out into nature, or go out into somewhere where you can feel free and feel good and get your blood flowing, get your natural endorphins and dopamine going. And that is it might not work, but keep giving it a chance. And don't just try it once, and if it doesn't work, just say I'm done. Keep trying. This is the battle for your life. This is the battle for your soul. Don't give up on it, because your life is precious. Your life is beautiful, even when you don't feel like it is. Maybe to the girl who says she was told that she's too beautiful to be depressed, go out and try to help yourself feel as beautiful on the inside as the people are telling you are on the outside. That's where true beauty comes from. And maybe you feel like you're not good enough, and you feel like, oh, I might just be good looking, but that's just, of course, it's just materialistic. Good looks are, it's nice to have good looks. It's better to be good looking than ugly, for sure, in many cases. But the true beauty from the inside is something that never goes away. It's a wealth that will fill your life and fill your heart. And it's something that only gets larger as you spread it. Thank you, everybody. I know I've gone on long again. Hey, God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.